and talking to a ton of people, this is the one that gets lost the most. So you have to keep your average calories consistent. Remember I talked about the bullet points. We went over the exercise one, now we're on to this one. I think Jennifer can agree, like, when we talk to people up here, I can't tell you, like, it's almost on a weekly basis, how many people are like, I'm doing everything right, I'm dialed in, but I'm not losing weight. And then you kind of start to dissect that because we kind of understand this stuff, and it's like, okay, let me see your app or whatever. And so in Monday through Friday, they will be perfect. Like, they are dialed in, they have all their meals prepped, they eat perfect. And then Saturday, a lot of times they won't even track it. So Saturday, and they'll be like, oh, we went out, I couldn't track, whatever. And so then, or sometimes they'll track, and it won't be accurate. We're going to get into that. But there's a lot they can go into it. Or they'll say, Saturday, I ate perfect Monday through Friday, but Saturday's our cheat day. So all I'm getting at, we want to really show you this here, is that, again, this is the most important. So if let's say 1,000, we're going to get to this on how y'all can find like y'all's calories to lose weight, but let's just say, hypothetically, that 1,800 calories is what it takes for you to lose weight. So we know that if you eat 1,800 calories on average, 7 days a week, right, you're going to lose weight. Let's say you lose a pound a week by clockwork, okay? Monday, you're dialed in, you go to the gym, you train hard, train the failure, all that kind of stuff's dialed in, your nutrition's on point. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even Friday, you get up, you hit the gym, your meals are packed for the day, you at work, you're killing it, you're eating exactly how you're supposed to, and then you got a party on Friday, which happens, right? So you go out to a party, and you eat a little too much, and I promise you, if you track, like, that is easy to hit. You have a couple margaritas, you have some chips and hot sauce, you have a beer, you have a couple beers, like, I promise you that is way easier to hit than you think. But even if it's a number less, still it's going to be more than what you're supposed to eat. So let's just say you go to a party, okay? You eat 3,500 for the day. So that's not just from the party, that's how much you ate during the day. Because remember, you were still eating before that as well. So you eat 3,500. Saturday's your cheat day. Saturday's where you go crazy, right? Because you make so good, so you reward yourself. So y'all go out to breakfast, then you go to Denny's, and then you don't eat lunch, you eat a clean lunch, but then you go back to dinner, and you go crazy, you have some beers, you have a margarita. Again, you're a normal person, okay? You have 3,500 calories there. Sunday, you're back dialed in, you're like, man, okay, now I'm back on. So you ate perfect, pretty much 6 days, right? I mean, besides that dinner, 6, so 5 days for sure, but really 5.5. And that's how people see it, so that's 1,800 there right on Sunday. Now your average is 2,300 instead of 1,800. But we said 1,800 is what you need to eat to lose weight. But 2,300, you don't. But maybe you don't even gain. So that's what we see a lot. It's not so much they just stay the same. They're like, yeah, I'm eating low calories, but I'm not losing any weight. So again, because this is helping them still drive it to where it's a maintenance and not a surplus, but they're eating too much to where now this number is not obviously 1,800, so they're just maintaining. So you could say, what do we do about this? So a couple things. I've read a lot of books as far as nutrition. It's interesting because like if you look at more like a psychology response or like what they say, like I've seen a lot of stuff where people are like, you don't want to build a bad connotation with food, but they'll say like you don't want to like punish yourself. You don't want to punish yourself after like I ate that, now I have to punish myself for that. But at the same time, if you say that and you agree with that, it's like then you're always spinning your wheels, because if you do this and then you do that and you get right back on the horse and then you have another great week, you have all these days in a row where it's perfect, you're still playing this game of like perfect, I ate too much, now my average is not where it needs to be to lose weight, and now I'm over, and then I start back dialed in, but then I do this again, and you just constantly stay in this like maintenance stage where you can't lose any weight. And it kind of sucks, and that happens to like almost everyone. And again, if you're looking at it like a bird's eye view in their eyes, they're thinking, man, I'm so dialed in, like it's one day or it's one meal, like how come I'm not losing weight? And that is why. So how do you counteract this, okay? So my best example that I explain to my clients is think of it like a bank account. And so now what I'm going to explain this, so let's say, you work like crazy in the week, it's a good week, and you are grinding, you make a lot of money, okay? But on the weekend, you go out to Dallas and you blow it all, okay? Then you got no money. Then you got to work again to make that money back, so you have to budget. Just like a bank account, you put some money in your savings, stuff like that, all right, to pay the bills, all that kind of stuff. Same thing you have to start thinking of here. So if you can start to budget, I'm going to use this, one of my clients that she does quite, her name is Blair, for example. When I explained this to her, she said like it was like a light went off. She never heard it explained like this, and this is what helped her be able to lose a lot of weight. She lost, after having a baby, I think like 60-something pounds, and the crazy part is she got to her goal that she's never got to before, and she said she could have kept losing, but then she went into a maintenance phase. But what I'm getting at is when I explained this, so like her, for example, she checked in every week, and she was losing 2 pounds, like she wanted to lose 2, so we got her dialed in to where she could lose 2, as far as how much of a deficit, and she was losing 2 pounds like clockwork every week. And then it was like, I've had people do really well, but I've never had someone for, I think she ran the diet for like 8 months or something like that. I've never had someone like, never not have like, life happens. So there's gonna be weeks where you don't have a change, but every single week, 2 pounds, 2 pounds, 2 pounds, 2 pounds. So then I was kind of messing with her. It was her birthday weekend, and they were going to like a Morgan Wallen concert. I was like, oh, this was gonna be tough. She's like, I got this. And then she checked in 2 pounds. And so anyway, just as a learning thing, I talked to her, I was like, Blair, I was like, you are the only one that I've ever seen literally lose 2 pounds all the way through the whole time. Like, what do you think for you was the secret? And she said, this slide right here. When you explained this, she said it clicked with me. So meaning that you have a couple options, okay? So like for her, she said, I'm a planner. My wife's a planner. I know Jennifer's the same way. We're gonna go. This is one of those things we want it to be something that you can adhere to. So you do kind of go off personality. So like for them, for example, so let's say I was at 1,800, right? So Blair knew that she was going to a concert on Friday night. So instead of 1,800, she had 1,500, 1,500, 1,500, 1,500. Well, then she has 300, 600, 900, or 1,200 calories to play with if she does it for 4 days. By the time she comes to Friday, it does work like that, y'all. It's not like you go to bed from a good day of eating and your body rewards you and says, you're not going to gain fat today, great job, or this week. It's just not how it works. So the professors in school would tell me, like, in books I've read, it's more of a bird's eye view. It's like a week. A week's a good way to calculate it because we can kind of have that as a good way to like step back and kind of analyze, but even a month, so more so, is how you want to look at it instead of so much day by day. You're going to track day by day. But again, once you start to understand that, that's when it really starts to make sense. So that's what she would do, okay? That's what my wife did, and then it worked pretty well for her. I'm the kind of opposite, my brother as well. It's just my personality type. Like, I'm not really a planner. So, like, say that like, we would go out somewhere, and we ate more than we thought we would eat. So just for math purposes, I'm gonna do this one as an example of 1,000. So say that 1,000 calories is what it took for me to lose weight. So if I ate 1,000 calories, I lost weight. If I ate 1,300, I know that the scale would go up and I gain. Anything above that. So let's say 1,000 is the number. 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. I'm dialed in. Let's say I eat 2,000 on Saturday. Okay, I go out to Topgolf, whatever. I have the appetizers, have a beer or two. I go to 2,000 calories easy. Okay. Well, the next day, because remember I said 1,000 calories is what gets me to lose weight. If I didn't pre-plan for that, this is the part I'm talking about where like people are like, oh, it's okay, just get back on it. But if you get back on it to 1,000, the average is off, right? So what I like to do is then maybe, just for an example, maybe I don't eat the next day. Because 1,000, right? 1,000 is what makes me eat weight. I ate 2,000 that day, so maybe I fast all day. Okay? That's just an example. Maybe you're like, I can't fast. But by the way, we're gonna get a little bit into the intermittent fasting stuff. That won't kill you if you did. If you think about before we had convenience stores and stuff like that where you could go get a Snickers bar, like we would, when there wasn't this stuff here, you would have to search for your food and there would be long periods of time that you didn't eat. So anyway, maybe that day, I'll give you another example, maybe I don't want to fast, but maybe I do 500 calories that day, maybe I do 500 the next day. Right, and then you can even roll into Monday, that's what I'm talking about, and then you're back on track. But you have to do that because, again, you have to understand it is math. At the end of the day, it's law of thermodynamics, it's physics, but it's whatever I don't eat, whatever I don't burn gets stored as fat. So that's really the main thing. Like, I think that if people start to understand this more, again, I do want to still say, though, you are still dieting. So, like, for example, like my wife, when she was trying to get that last little bit off, she lost a lot of weight off 1,005, 1,600 calories, but towards the end, she had to go down to 1,200 to get to the weight she wanted to get to. And she didn't get to eat crazy. Like, it wasn't like we got to go out Saturday and she got to go crazy, but you still have to say no to stuff. She had to say no to a lot of stuff. But if we went to Chick-fil-A, maybe she did get to eat a little bit more than what she wanted to if she budgeted for it, or the next day again, accounted for it, and then didn't get to eat breakfast that day because she went a little over on her dinner the day before. Does this make sense? Any questions at all on any of this?
Yes, because I was just doing it by the day, and like I said,
Absolutely.
weekends are hard.
Absolutely.
So what I feel like and this may be wrong, but I
Okay.
feel like what I need to do is like, because I did like a year and a half ago, Rachel did my macros.
Yep.
And so probably what I need to do, like I've never looked at it like at a week.
Yep.
Yeah, and so weekends are bad for me because we're on
Everybody.
the go, and
Sure.
so probably what I need to do is like calculate up for a week what my calories are and maybe cut, like you said, cut back
Absolutely.
each day, because that's easy for me at work because I'm on the move, busy all day at work, so I don't snack and I really don't, I mean,
No,
I would
100%.
just
That's
get
how.
my calories and I was good. So I probably need to start doing that.
Yeah, there was a lady in class, and she was like, she thought that it was like magical about the numbers that she got, and she was saying that like, she was eating it even when she wasn't hungry. Like she was eating
Yes,
it.
I was, remember, I
And
was
she
so
was-
different, I can't get all those.
Yeah,
carbs
and
in.
she wasn't losing, and I was like, and then with the weekend, obviously you do eat more, you just do. And so, and maybe you don't some weekends, but then some you do. And again, if you look at it in a month's time frame, that still adds up, right? And so I was telling her, I said the same thing you just said. I was like, well, if you're not hungry, you don't have to eat that. If your goal is to lose fat, like, and she wanted another 5-10 pounds, I was like, stop eating that there if you're, not hungry, and then that's more calories you get, and then eat the same way you're eating. I guarantee you lose weight. I checked in on 3 weeks later, and she's like, I've lost, 4 pounds, 5 pounds. I lost the weight I want to lose. I'm like, boom, there you go. But it 100% works like that. But you're right. I think this slide's so important because most everyone I talk to thinks it works by day, but it just doesn't, because again, that's just not how the body works, and you don't get rewarded, by the day. Again, it's not like, oh, you did great, you don't get to gain fat this week. 5 days out of the 7, you did awesome, good job. Like now you don't gain body fat. It's just not the way it works. I would wish it was. I do think it is a little not fair because life happens and you do go out to eat, but it is the way it is. So if you can start to account for that and you do start to really understand it and do the math, I mean, you can lose weight. Like my brother, for example, he's a lean guy anyway, but one summer, for some reason, he wanted to push it to like 6%, he wanted to get really lean. And we were about to go to Vegas, and he was like, dude, he gets all this stuff too. And then he was like, do you think if I fasted 2 days a week, and he said, I'm still going out to Dallas with my buddies from college and stuff on Saturday, and do you think I can still eat the same way, but 2 days a week, I just don't eat? And I was like, dude, if you can do that sounds kind of crazy, but if you can do it, he's like, it'll be on my non-workout days, I can do it. And he did it, and he lost 10 pounds. It was pretty cool to see, because he understands that it's about energy balance. And then the other days, again, he literally didn't change his diet at all, but he just for 2 days didn't eat, and that was able to compensate for eating more on the weekend, and therefore his calorie average was where it needed to be for the total week to where he lost weight.
Yeah, because I think when you start, you just have that in your head. When you get your macros, you just have it in your head. Okay, today
You have
this
to
is what,
hit these
yes.
numbers.
And then you feel like crap on the weekends when you blow it.
Absolutely. 'Cause
Double on that Saturday,
one meal
yeah.
blows it. That's
So,
the part that sucks.
yes.
Yeah.
So that does help me, because I'm
Cool.
thinking I can do mine for the week, because
Yeah.
I don't eat a lot through the week, but like I said, weekends are bad. So
Sure,
like
that's
that will
everybody.
help me maintain that weekly calorie.
Yep.
If I can push,
Think of it as a budget, and it really does. And if you start to really track this stuff and you control your variables, do that. And this is really it's not simple, but it is. There's a lot of complexity to it. Also, we got a lot of slides, but at the same time, like when you do start to understand it and you start to understand its math, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this really does all make
Yeah,
sense.
I was gonna say, make sure you understand, like, it's math. You gotta understand, look at it like a math thing, not like a get to Sunday and punish yourself.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
you're saying.
exactly,
Like,
it's
I mean,
just math.
You gotta know what your intake is before you just get to Sunday and go, I'm just gonna punish myself because it's math.
I don't
You know
give
what
up
I mean?
a calorie.
No.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.